Please don't forget, we were talking about being independent earlier and self-sufficient. Number one, you need water filtration and storable food. MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex to find their best specials on super high quality, non-GMO, storable foods, great customer service, great containers they come in, great selection. MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex, ladies and gentlemen. And their toll-free number is also on the site, 866-229-0927. Matthew in Michigan. Matthew in Michigan, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an honor to talk to you today, Alex. You're doing a great job, and I've been a Prison Planet member, subscriber since the beginning, and first-time caller. And you woke me up in 2006.
Thank you, brother.
Back. I just want to say that I get really irritated when I try to talk to family members and friends, and I try to bring up these important topics, and they just totally go to that you're tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorist, and I'll be like, well, this happened, USS Liberty got attacked, a long time ago. I'll try to bring up specific points and stuff about that the globalists are trying to do, and they just, that didn't happen. Or they won't even look at
Well, what they're really saying is, I feel like I don't have any power, so I'm just going to deny things, and this is my cop-out to just go through life and not really exist and just be programmed by the false culture. They have no culture, so they're victims. You can't be angry at them. There are ways to deprogram them. Go ahead.
No, I don't get angry. I just get really frustrated, and it gets to me sometimes. I don't know what I can do, but I just started my own domain name. I want to start making my own videos, and my big thing is the fluoride in the water, and the fact that the sun plays with our weather patterns, and everybody likes to blame global warming. And Al Gore's not a fearmonger. He wants to take our money, but oh my God, Alex Jones.
You've taken your step into a giant world, Matthew, and don't thank me. Anybody will tell you, any salesman will tell you, selling your family is next to impossible. A lot of times, only the very best families get listening to your family instead of putting your family down. So they feel powerful when they reject you, powerful when they laugh at you. So go off, be successful on your own, warning others, and then they'll respect you down the road. And they'll remember that you warned them earlier. So I salute you, Matthew.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
It's so important. I've got a red siren imitating Drudge in here right now in the TV studio that will only come out during the most dire of emergencies. But it's out with us here today. Let's go to Tomahawk and then Michael. Then after the break, we'll go to Lab Rat, John, Phyllis, and many others. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. Tomahawk is calling in from FEMA Region 4. Now people see how serious it is. They just do what they want under UN control. The UN is basically running the open border operation. That's now confirmed. What former state are you in, Tomahawk?
The home of the Georgia Guidestones.
So you're in Georgia, former Georgia Peach territory.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just had a couple of things, encouraging and discouraging. I'll have to say the discouraging thing would be you talking about leaving the nation. I know that it's getting so crazy here that you feel for your family, and I just, probably see too many ways out. But the most encouraging thing I see is whenever you put a bullhorn in your hand and you go screaming and ranting and telling people what it is, and you're going to have a following. I mean, you want to be William Wallace, there you go. They're going to come. You build it, they will come, and I will come from all the way from Georgia to help you and your family support the border. I mean, securing it, and I mean, we're up against a tyrannical government.
That's why they've got Rick Perry playing the part of, I'll put 1,000 troops on the border, and then you read the fine print to deliver them to ICE to ship them into the country. And then even listeners go, but I want to believe in Perry. I'm sorry, it's a fraud, it's a hoax. I'm not going to lie to people.
And you got Jesse Ventura talking about supporting open borders while he lives in Mexico. I mean, it's just a hoax. The left wing, the right wing, it's all a joke. I mean,
well, Sharon, I want to be clear. Jesse is a total libertarian. He says total guns. He says legalize everything. We shouldn't have borders. But you can't have socialism and welfare. I mean, you wouldn't have all these people coming up here if there wasn't welfare. Or the ones that came up would want to work. We allow the whole world, if you're a criminal, you run to America now and get signed up with an ACORN group, and then the Democrats put the word in at ICE, and you have a get-out-of-jail-free card. I mean, this is a criminal takeover, is what it is.
That's right. I just wish. I know it's a really tough thing to to take in and being the actual William Wallace. I know we are in the info war, but you know, to actually be out there, you know, physically, you know, it's just that that to me is the most encouraging thing that I can think of that you could possibly do.
Well, now MSNBC shows videos of 1957 with the Republican President Eisenhower sending the National Guard in to block the governor who wouldn't let black kids go to school. And she has the nerve to say that's the Republicans trying to control the border. The Republicans, the leadership, Boehner and all the rest of them, are the ones that wrote the original amnesty bill that Obama's trying to pass. The Republican leadership wants this, so they give the right cover. Oh, we put some National Guard down there to act as like UPS workers to ship the illegals in on a conveyor belt. I mean, that's how they destroy us, is the Republicans play the part of the opposition. She outrageously calls them racist because they're there helping ship the illegals in, knowing her viewers are literally the dumbest people on the planet. I mean, how do you defeat such savage deception where it's not just Perry, the governor, shipping the illegals in, it's Melissa Harris Perry lying and giving him left cover. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and fiat currency backing it all, backing everything.
How dare you, Perry, be trying to control the border, Melissa Harris Perry says. Meanwhile, he's got National Guard down there to deliver the illegals into the country. Oh, man, you got the National Chamber of Commerce for it. They all want it because they want you poor and dumber than a box of rocks.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us on this Monday edition. William Geen of AlleyPack up there on Capitol Hill will give us the D.C. breakdown on what's happening with the North American Union implosion of our borders and ways to fight back against it. Or run up the white flag, and then the level of tyranny will just intensify. Thomas Jefferson said the level of tyranny you will live under is the exact level you put up with. And a lot of other news as well. Important things are happening, like 5 costumed characters have been arrested Saturday in Times Square. And the New York Times says when media mergers limit more than competition, the censorship of news. Also, Hamas chief says we cannot coexist with occupiers and that they do not basically want to cease fire. You know, that's my issue, is that it's like a cause celeb, where the only time anybody in the left cares about a war is when it's Israel in a war. And I'm neutral on the issue, and I think it's terrible, and both sides have major problems. I'm on record about that. And it's very polarized, where you're supposed to choose one side or the other. But I see Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or IS as it's now known, they keep changing the name to get away from our government funding them, killing over 300,000 people conservatively in Syria and now tens of thousands in Iraq, blowing up churches every day, murdering men, women, and children. Mainline organizations like the UN admit that Christians may be extincted in Syria and Iraq under this. They've survived thousands of years, 2,000 years. Almost zero coverage, and you don't hear a word from anybody. And then the anti-Israel crowd will have like 3 articles criticizing, you know, stuff Israel's doing, and then some articles criticizing something that, you know, Hamas is doing. And then they'll be, Alex is covering up. There's no Gaza coverage. Because intellectually, that's how you prove you're better. Oh, Alex doesn't cover the North American Union. Alex doesn't cover the Federal Reserve. Alex doesn't cover offshoring. Alex doesn't cover, you know, what's happening over in the Middle East. Alex doesn't. I cover it all. But there's this fake intellectual thing where people just say, he doesn't cover the Vatican. Or he doesn't. Yeah, he works for Israel. Yeah, he... Instead of getting out and fighting the tyranny. I mean, Egypt just destroyed a whole bunch of tunnels out of Gaza into Egypt. You got that Gaza crew connected into trying to overthrow the Egyptian government. What, do the Egyptians not let the Gazans in because they hate Arabs or Muslims? No, folks, it's because it's a political football and a destabilizing force in the region. You can say, well, that's because Israel took over and did what they did in 1947. Israel's got 800 nuclear weapons. They're not going anywhere. So why is it the cause celeb again? To talk about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, because that's all you're supposed to know about while all hell's breaking loose everywhere else. I mean, you got over 1,000 people killed in Gaza. Civilian targets are being hit because the people firing at the Israelis are in those areas. That's just a fact of war, and I think it's terrible, and I think it's wrong, and I think it's bad. But 1,000 versus 300,000? Can I get 300 times the coverage? If numbers count, no, I can't. I can't get 1% the coverage of Al-Qaeda murdering Christians and non-radical Muslims, moderate Muslims, all over Africa, all over the Middle East. I'm sick of it. And you expose that and make it a big issue, that's it for the New World Order, folks. You know why? Because then it'll come out that there's a criminal group above our government, like Spectre, funding this to destabilize the world. See, I don't like the news, what I'm supposed to cover being set for me. Sometimes if something's a big issue and MSNBC says the open borders are like the new civil rights movement, and that's the big national story, I'll cover it all the time, not because it's the big story they made, but because their lies are big, I'm going to counter it. But most of the time, I don't cover what the big fake story is. We end up covering what we think is important, and many times make it an national story. We're here to really change the world, folks, not sit here with a political football of Israel versus Palestine and relish hating Israel. Again, I don't like how the pro-Israel folks will bully me if I criticize Israel moderately. And I don't like how the pro-Palestinian people will bully me and lie about me and act like a bunch of fools and put out a bunch of disinfo as well. I'm not taking a side, and I don't like being conscripted into one of the camps. It's a tragic tribal warfare, and I'm sick of it. I want to go to Lab Rat, Michelle, Bill, John, Phyllis, and others. Let's go to Lab Rat in New Mexico. You're on the air, Lab Rat. Go ahead.
Alex, you are on fire. That was maybe the best introduction I have ever heard, and I've been listening to you for a decade. Good way to go. I want to give a quick message today to of victory with regard to nascent iodine, and not just consulting, but educating the doctors. I'd like to give a quick message to the Pharisees from a preacher's son, and then I'd like to talk about the weaponization of social sciences and the desperation of the New World Order to get a handle on us because they're failing and all of their attempts have failed. Can we get through those things real quick?
Go ahead, sir.
Shakespeare said truth is truth to the end of reckoning. It's in the water. It's in the air. It's in everything we eat, drink, breathe. Veritas is truth. To the Pharisees, I say we are called to be in the world, not of the world. We are called to be light and salt. If salt loses its flavor or savor, it's good for nothing, Jesus said, but to be thrown out and trod underfoot. Faith without works is dead, and let's not forget that behind every Melissa Perry, whatever her name is a psychological operations division making talking points for the media right now. It's in our entertainment, and it's in our infotainment. Secondly, victory story. I consulted my doctor about nascent iodine because I had a miraculous, what I call miracle experience. 10 days uptake and a damaged brain from an injury became completely whole again. None of my doctors had seen anything like it. I consulted them about nanosilver and about nascent iodine. None of them knew anything about it. I sent them all to InfoWarsLife.com. They all immediately Googled it, went to group, watched the videos. One of my doctors is going to start taking Super Female Vitality and get back to me at my next appointment so we can educate our physicians. She said to me, I am sick of being a pill dispensary for Big Pharma. That's all I'm allowed to do. I said, well, that's not all you're allowed to do for yourself. Lastly, I was working on something called Claire with a capital AI. Claire was eventually going to be what Eric Schmidt wanted, and that was a computer in every home where you would simply say, Claire, can you? And then it would find or do whatever you wanted.
So it's like Siri. It's like Siri.
It's Siri on steroids. And when we realized what it was, and DARPA had approached us because of the Semantic Web Conference address and other things, we decided to disband and move our separate ways and go do different things, all of us. They lack the algorithm, Alex. Why do you think they're doing that? FedBitOps.gov looking for game-changer private sector investment because they're only successful. What was it? 4 out of 11 or 4 out of 16 scenarios were successfully predicted. And David Knight brought up an interesting thing from a caller yesterday. Maybe they're not trying to predict it. Maybe they're trying to start social unrest. That had never occurred.
Oh, they are definitely starting it. But again, so they can trigger it, so they can lead it and control it.
Correct. I don't know what the scenario is, but I know that they're desperate to get their hands around every single piece of human information, and I quote, that can be collected.
No, I agree. I want to shift gears back to the nascent iodine. Specifically, what happened when you started taking it? Was it X2 or the regular survival shield?
It was the regular because I'm doing what you suggested. I've been taking it. I stopped. I had a severe injury. I've been given a clean mental bill of health. I've been given everything. I can't give away too much information. Let me tell you, I've been pinged. I got in trouble for my last call. You remember me. And I'm not working.
No, I remember you called in with a bunch of information about algorithms and things. Very interesting.
They're using entertainment concepts, marketing concepts. The guys that are, and let me just tell you, New Mexico is the biggest victim of dumbing down. You've never seen a collective, and everyone I've dealt with in my scenario who's not from here comments on how they cannot believe the level of what they call stupidity. I have pity on these people. For 50 years, the government brought in heroin when the Brown movement, the Latino movement, was mobilizing against what they were doing in their backyards here. They spray here regularly. They've done
I know. It's massive social engineering. Obama will take care of us, say MS-13 members. Violent MS-13 gang members recruiting at Arizona facility, LA Times. Amnesty work permits for $5 million could be ordered within weeks. Visa overstays to be excused. Scott Brown becomes first Senate candidate to run ad on the crisis. National poll shows 77% of Americans want illegals sent home. 80+% say it's wrong. There's video of a coyote on jet skis delivering the illegals to the U.S. in broad daylight. Jerry Brown kicks off trade mission in Mexico. This is the North American Union. That's some of the news up on DrudgeReport.com. We have breaking news up on Infowars.com, where in the event of hurricanes or emergencies, the illegals will be taken care of first. That's from the federal and state government. In event of emergency, illegals to be evacuated before citizens. Adon Salazar reports. New studies out says mass government spying crushes freedom of the press. Whistleblower, L.A. planning to forcibly house homeless citizens in camps. They're paying Democratic families all over the country $6,000 a month to hold upwards of 3 illegals per house. This is also a giant scam.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered with a ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.